Welcome back. We're not going to make it weird, as always. Having my boy, AJ, back on the pod, Story Continues pod. We're going to be talking about his business, of course, and what we've done in it the last 4 months. AJ's been a fitness coach for like 7 years. He's dope. He's a huge anchor in the community. I don't know a single person that doesn't like him, and if they do, they just can't handle his energy. I'm really excited to not just talk about techniques and just anything that can really add value, but also just get back out there.
Yes, sir.
How are you, my man? What's going on?
Man, I'm feeling good. Feeling good. I think the number one thing since we last hopped on this podcast was just feeling comfortable with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I think, a lot of people that are not in front of the camera may not recognize like the difficulty of like just getting out there, shooting, going.
Mm-hmm.
But like as you get into the groove, it's like, okay, this is what I feel comfortable again.
Sure.
So just like being open. It's Men's Mental Health Month, so like getting out there, talking about that, and just like putting different challenges out there. So just the comfort level with everything has gotten better.
For sure, man. I think in terms of kind of getting back, we're jumping right into it. In terms of getting back to a place where people can post whatever they want and not feel like it needs to be curated to the perfect form or it needs to be exactly this style. Like, post what you want to post, because at the end of the day, it's your account, it's your journal, it's your platform, right? And if people don't like what you post, they don't have to fucking follow you.
I got to give you your flowers real quick. Since we have started working together, Darian really was pushing for more of this, more talking, more conversation, things of side, like not just like posting a workout to get people involved. And what I have seen so much more lately is people that I've never seen talk.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one guy in particular, his name is George something, but point is,
these are like friends, family, like
no, these are like fitness influencers.
Okay.
And one of the things I'll show you a little bit later after we're done is that he like made a video talking about how he had someone that was encouraging him to talk, but he's like, I don't know what I want to talk about, blah blah blah. Like I've always done it this way, and I think like it's very interesting, like that pivot of there's you see a lot more fitness coaches talking, sharing different tips, doing different things that for those particular individuals have not done that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And you were on it. Like you knew that
100%.
was coming, that pivot of like not just posting 1 minute hardcore doing crazy workout videos was going to last forever. So
I mean, even the talking head's not going to last forever. It's already kind of getting phased out because so many people are doing it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But I like the talking head, and I think it's going to work. It's still going to work for like another year or two, or like 6 to 18 months, because it really shows your personality of who you are, right? It's just about how you attention grab, of course. Sure. When people first start watching your videos, when they first start getting to your page, you can have the best information, but because people have like TikTok brain rot, they're not getting attracted to your videos fast enough that they're staying on it. And obviously the way that social media works is the longer people watch your videos, the more it gets pushed out, because they want to push ads at the end of the day, because they need to make money. We have 10 questions here, mainly just deep diving into AJ's business to like keep the conversation flowing. So we're just going to start with number one. What originally inspired you to become a fitness coach, and how has that motivation evolved over the past 7 years?
Jeez, loaded question. So I guess the first part is what inspired me to become a coach is like I did not know what I had inside. So talked to you about this before, shared it on the page in the past, where 2017 I wanted to get in shape for my wedding. And there were a lot of different activities that I was completing that I did not realize I could complete. So like an example, a 5-mile run. Didn't realize that I could do a 5-mile run and then like be perfectly fine afterwards. So I was like, man, I wonder like like pushing somebody else to see like what else they have inside of them. So there was like an opportunity because I wanted to learn more about like how to get in better shape myself. I was like, oh, let me take this training through LA Fitness. And then in going through that class, it was like, man, this would be a great opportunity. I already enjoy doing all these things. It'd be great to be a coach. So that was like the, I guess, the launching pad from the coaching side. But as far as how it's evolved is I'm big on giving like the client what they need. So at LA Fitness, it was more so structured around let the clients think that they're getting this special thing here, as opposed to like what are their goals, what they really need to be working on. So like the business structure thing was more so built around like I wanted to do things my way.
So you started coaching pretty fast.
Started coaching pretty fast. I will
You've
say
been working out your whole life. Well, at least like lifting weights in some ways, right? But
yeah,
not running necessarily.
not running at all. Yeah. Not running at all. So I didn't start running. I would not say until like 2017. I have done like I did a charity 5K before for a nonprofit, and I did something else prior to that. But like I remember even doing that 5K, like I was like, people actually run 10 miles and they're like perfectly fine afterwards. Like I thought that was crazy. And I remember coming to DC, I remember being like, why are all the roads blocked off? And I was like, for a race? Like, why do they have to block off roads for races? So I just remember like being really disconnected from that idea of like running that many miles. And 2017 changed all of that.
That's real.
No, it's just the truth.
It's kind of cool to think about. Like you got your results first of all, which is important for any coach. Like you either get yourself results or get someone else results.
For sure.
So you can share that as a testimonial, right, to get you off the ground. A lot of people feel like you need to be crazy muscular, or like have lost, I don't know, 150 pounds because you let yourself get fucking fat. But you were just like, oh, I like doing this.
I really do.
Which I think is really important.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. No, it was like, I always feel like you can genuinely tell when someone actually likes something as opposed to like someone just like doing it to do it. And I just remember like wanting to get to know the person that like I was training, like wanting to understand like what they were trying to accomplish, giving them as much information that I possibly could. And then like that feeling of they're hitting their goal, like they're actually getting after, you know, I remember working with a client that had like was going through a breakup and their boyfriend had called them fat.
Damn.
And it was like something that like really messed them up in the head, but they felt so good as they were like trimming down and like going after their goals. So like, I mean, I honestly fed off of them as well. Like I love that you're staying focused. I love that you're, you know, knocking this thing out.
That's real. Yeah, they always say different motivators, right? It's like logical, positive, negative. Like something keeps people going.
Yeah.
And I always say that's a part of my big thing. Like I'm like, pick an enemy. Because every time you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, like all you have to do is think of that enemy, and they're either outworking you or being like, I told you so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick an enemy.
Yeah.
That's true. That's gonna be your summer slogan.
No, I mean that's chapter 1 of the mindset thing.
Gotcha.
Pick an enemy. Has there been like any like pivotal moments in your coaching career that like impacted the way that you do your training, your fitness training, either for yourself or other people, really? I
mean, to be honest, I went negative on this one when you just said that. Like, I think a lot of times, you know, you get clients that ask about like pre-workouts and stuff like that, and I think in the past, even setting as simple as shoes. Yeah. So I'll go through pre-workouts, then I'll talk about shoes. I think that I always wanted to like be the person that like tells them exactly what they should do, as opposed to like taking a step back and being like, hey, you might want to try this. Like, this is good. You should try lit, fruit punch, blah, 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 blah. And like, you might have 3 or 4 people that have a very positive experience with it. And you hit that next person that's like, I almost had a heart attack.
Because it was pre-workout.
Yeah. And they're like, I felt so jittery. I've never felt that way before. And I'm like looking at them like,
too,
why the hell did I recommend this? And then like for shoes for another example, like I remember someone would ask me like, what shoes should I wear? And I would tell them like, you want to get New Balance 880s. And then I was like, recommended shoes. And then it like hit me. It's like, no, like you should go to Pacers. You should like try a whole bunch of shoes. You should like set out the time, 2 or 3 hours, however long it takes. And you should decide what shoe works best for you. So like, I feel like a lot of my growth has come with, there's no one size fit all situation, and like not to even think that we should have an idea of like, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Like, no, like you have to take an investment too. Like you have to, spend some time and figure out like, you might not like a whole bunch of cushion. You might love it. So it really is about like you investing the time to kind of get a feel for, what's going to work best. And that might be being on the treadmill and running in 5 different pairs of shoes.
That's true. It took me a long time to find a good pair of shoes that I actually enjoyed.
It's important too, right? Because those shoes that I'm just going to use you as an example for this, but I remember when you came over to the Nike side, you were like, man, these things are cheat code.
Oh yeah. Not for the super shoes. Now regular Nikes, I never liked any of them. But until I went to the Vaporflies, I was like, oh wow, I see why everyone races in these.
Yeah.
It was a game changer.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. I remember when you said it, was like, my man.
I was like, see, because like I wore a couple of like regular like the Pegasus Nikes, and I hated them.
I can imagine, especially with Pegasus. I can imagine.
So these questions are boring. We're gonna talk about the business. Okay. Delve deep into there. Talk about the content. How do you like as far? I know we talked about the talking head videos a little bit, but like as far as where your content is at right now, like how do you feel about it?
So I always go back to like where I was at before you came, right? There was no direction. There was complete like see something, repost, see something, post it. I feel like there's like structure now. I like where it's headed. I think that it more so has a focus now. Even from the stories, there is a clear understanding of like this is what we're going for. This is who exactly I'm trying to reach out to. So there's no like, is he asking for clients? Is he open to clients? Like it is very direct, and I like the idea of someone saying like, I'm finally understanding what you were saying about wanting people to say no, as opposed to like not asking for the sale.
Right.
So I like the idea of it being like, hey, these doors are open, are you interested in training, as opposed to how it was in the past where I think it was like, I'm pretty sure this page does training, but I don't know if they're accepting clients. I don't know what they got going on. I don't know what they focus in on. Like there's no way you can go to the page now and not know exactly one, like what the company does, and like how to get in contact. All of those things.
AJ is nicer than me. To be honest, like for me, when I think of like fitness coaching, people are like, why aren't you a fitness coach? I'm like, I fucking hate talking to people that make excuses about their health. Especially when people have to spend money, because it doesn't matter if it's $10, $50, $100, $500, $300, $3,000. Like, if you don't believe in yourself and you don't want to help yourself, you're not going to spend any type of money, right? It's not about the price, because I've sold packages that are like, I don't know. I've sold products that are $10. It's the same thing. People are like, oh yeah, I just got to think about it. I've sold products that are $100. People are like, oh yeah, I just got to think about it, right? And then we're going to keep going up. Products that are $500, $900, $1,500, $3,000, $5,000. And we get to the end, like, oh yeah, this is perfect. But people are so afraid to be like, oh, I don't have the money for this. Or just be honest. Or if they do have the money, they just don't believe in themselves. Like, I know I can help you, right? Like, every time I sit down with somebody and I talk to them about their coaching, and I look at their page and I'm like, okay, follow this roadmap. And they come back to me 2 weeks later, like, oh, I made my, like, not even 2 weeks, usually literally fucking 7 days.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I made my first sale, like, my first time ever making money online. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
If you focus on these three things, and I go backwards with this, if you focus on fulfillment, sales, marketing, and you look at your day, you wake up, you're like, cool, do I have any clients to serve today? Right? Fulfillment. Do I have any clients to serve and fulfill right today? If you don't, then you go to sales. Do I have any people to actually talk to and sell to today? Yes or no? And if you don't have that, then you go to marketing, right? Do I have engaged leads or leads that I can potentially push into the selling, process?
Right.
Right? If you just woke up and focused on those things, you took, Hormozy says the rule of 100, right? So that could be, for me, really could be 100 contacts, 100 minutes, 100 something, 100 worth of something for your time. I've really 100 actions, the way I think about it, towards wherever you are in those 3 steps. Like, you'll make money online. Like, you can't ever be like, oh, the market is saturated. Like, yes, it can be hard because there's a lot of coaches online. But if there weren't people to sell, like if there weren't people still trying to lose weight, like what they say, like 70% of Americans like fucking overweight, then none of the coaches online would be even activated right now.
That's a very good point.
Whether they're selling a large coaching package or like coaches who are selling a cheap coaching package or coaches who are selling an app or coaches who are selling like a $10 nutrition plan, it's like no matter what, if there weren't people who are still trying to lose weight, even in our economy right now where everything is supposedly super hard, where people are still buying cars and houses and all this
taking
random
crazy
shit
vacations
every single day, right? Taking vacations, going out to drink every single weekend, but we're like, oh my God, I don't have any money. Like, stop going to the fucking bar every weekend.
Yeah.
It's like that. You can't ever just be like, oh, I don't have. There's no people to sell. There's no people to talk to, right? There's no people to serve.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Like, and also, I'm yapping, but it's like, I know the product can help, but when you're even in that process, it's not so much about, oh, I need to get a sale, I need them to do this. It's all about, like, can I make this person, like, does this person believe in themselves?
For sure.
Right?
For sure. And I think also, like, it's crazy. Like, I was talking to a client earlier today. Sometimes when you're working with someone, and you say this all the time, which I really do appreciate, because in the moment you don't want to hear it, but then when you're going down the process with someone, you kind of like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. You always say, like, you wouldn't want to work with that person in the first place.
100%.
Trust me.
100%.
And the truth of the matter is, once a coach decides to work with someone, the fulfillment side of them making the payment is done, but now it's like, now you're connected to that person. Your time, your effort, all of those things. So if they're not doing the things,
just time, your reputation.
Yeah,
right.
And ultimately, like, you can't do much if you're working with someone for 6 months and they're not showing any improvement, right? So really, you're almost like you're getting paid, and it's not like you're getting paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, but you're getting paid, but you're not getting any of the aspect of like I was talking, like, I never want when a client friend asks, like, how's things going with your trainer? And they're like, oh, it's going okay, like, I've lost a few pounds, but really haven't hit this, haven't hit that. Like, no, like, your goals once you sign up are now connected to my reputation. So it's like, if you're having an okay time with your coach, then it's like, I'm an okay trainer. Like, if you're having a great experience, I'm a great trainer. And I never want to be put in that category of like an okay trainer. So it's like, I am emotionally invested in this goal that you said that we're going to try to hit for real. Like, not just saying it. Like, I'm emotionally invested because it's like, I never want, when our time is up, for it to be like, oh, that was a, whatever experience. You actually spoke with a potential client last week, and I thought it was interesting. They were in shape, and then their trainer moved, and then they fell out of shape. Like let's that be the like that's a good legacy to have. Like when I was around, when we were training together, things were going well, right? Like when I left, that's when you fell off. That's something you want to have for your legacy, not this person was an okay trainer. I kind of got some results. No, it's not it.
I mean, I think that's also why online training is so important, because if you just train with somebody and you either can't afford to continue training with them, or you don't have the time to train with them continually, and then you do backslide and start to gain weight, and you're thinking like, oh, if I just had another trainer. Realistically, no, not if you had another trainer. It's like you need to learn how to actually work out, and that's why online training is so cool, because your trainer isn't there 24/7 to be like, do this, do this, do this. It's like, hey, here's the plan, here's your structure. This is what I want you to go to the gym and do, and if you have questions, I can help you with that. But by going to the gym yourself and doing the exercises and the workouts, you're now learning how to work out on your own, right? And you still have the accountability from your trainer being like, hey, I don't understand this, or hey, this hurt, hey, I didn't like this, like, is there any substitutions can I do? Can you help me out here? But at the end of the day, after you're done working during that specific time period, you could resign if you want more accountability just to help you out and continue to get feedback, because feedback is king. But realistically, you know what to do now. You know what to do in the gym. You know what to eat. You know what nutrition plan will actually work for you to hit your goals. Now it's all about just you doing it, right? And that's the real reason anybody would stay with their trainer. Like, why do we continue? I've taught you everything that I know, but why do we continue to work together, right? It's because you continue to get that feedback. That's why we have mentors. That's why we have coaches, right? An NFL team doesn't get with their coach at the beginning of the season. They're not like the coaches are like, all right, guys, here's the plan for the season. Good luck. And they don't go out and play by themselves. Like, here's the plan for the game. Good luck, right? The coach is constantly there giving feedback. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to look out for this. And like they're interacting with the coach. Like, that's why a coach is so important. For sure.
I gotta piggyback on something you
jump
just
in, man.
So like one of the things that Darian will do is I may lose a sale. Like, let me be clear. I may say something that will lose that particular sale with that individual. But the coaching really comes from, like, I think his best coaching with me has come when he says, like, tell me why you said that. Like, why did you put that comment? Like, why did you respond that way? And it forces me to, one, stop and be like, why did I respond that way? And it gets me to thinking, like, well, I responded that way because she said this or he said that, and I figured this will blah, blah, blah. He's like, no. Why? That we can wait, until we get to the next. And what it really does is it doesn't save that particular sale, but like it teaches me like a fundamental thing to do for next time, to where like that future person that I'm talking to, I'm never going to make that same mistake again. I will make a mistake. I want to be clear.
Mistakes will happen.
But I won't make the same mistake. So like one of the things for me that I will share is that sometimes I can give too much information, or I can like be too like just not giving that person the opportunity to kind of like talk so we can even get to that step. And it's like, no, pull back. And the real-time coaching, it makes a world of difference, because, you can have this blueprint of what you need to do, but you also need to understand that, like, there's a reason why, like, and it's usually a very small reason of why someone's going to respond and someone's going to leave you on red. And it's not because they don't want a damn coach. It's just simply how you're communicating with them. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. It's not that they don't want to necessarily coach with you. You're not asking the right questions. You're not doing the thing that would get them to say, you know what, I do need to figure this out. Like, let's jump on a call, as opposed to like giving all this information. It's like, oh, let me think about it. No, we're not doing let me think about it. We're doing more so like, you need to be able to answer that question. This is what you said. So I think that's one to say that.
This is how I think about that. If I give somebody all the information in that exact moment, because like Instagram, when the main feed is for teaching and giving away all information I can, if we're in the DMs, it's there to sell, right? Like we're here to have a selling conversation now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving away all my stuff on the feed. Like, okay, you need additional help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sad because I kind of lost my thought a little bit, but I can bring it back around.
I was following.
I know, it was good. It's all good. We'll bring it back around. Really, what I was thinking, or maybe I'll just make another point. It's like we're having that conversation now because I'm not there to be like, hey, this is what you need to do. My only point is to make you realize, because you came in the DMs like, hey, I do need help, but also make you realize like, oh no, I do have a problem and I do need help. Because if I just tell you the information, you probably won't do it because you could have just Googled it.
That was deep.
You could have just Googled it.
Yeah.
What was your question? Oh, I'm fucking 200, whatever. I'm 250 pounds and I want to be 185. How do I do that? You can literally type that into Google. Every single search engine has an AI on it now. That's going to be like, oh, you need to track your calories and go to the gym and hit 10,000 steps a day, right? Like, all the coach is there for is accountability.
For sure.
Because if you wanted to change, you would just do it your fucking self.
I was thinking about this. So, you know this. I got a personal therapist, but I also have a couples therapist that my wife and I have had now for 7 years. So even before we got married. And I realized something that happened during the pandemic was we went completely virtual. And I remember the first time that we did it, I was like, we got to pay them the same price? Like, do we have to, pay, X, Y, and Z? Long story short, we pay upwards of $150 every time we meet with them. But the point,
each time,
the point is, it's gotten so, it's like something we don't even think about now.
It's normal.
You're getting the same conversation. Whether I'm talking to you like this or I'm talking to you face to face, like, you're getting the same information. And I think, like, for those that like haven't done online or haven't done certain things, they have this idea in their head that I've heard this a few times listening to people. I don't do well online. Yeah. I've tried it before. I don't do well with this. And it's like, why don't you do well with this? Like, have you already made up in your head that it's not going to work? Like, I have seen times for myself where if I don't think it's going to work, I've already sabotaged it before I even get there. Because I'm like, oh, it's not going to work. That TV doesn't work, right? Because it didn't work last week doesn't mean it doesn't work right now. And maybe I need to try a different button to turn it on. So that's something that like really had been in my head, where people sabotage themselves before they're like, I need someone to push me like in person. And it's like, what exactly are you saying? Like, what do you mean by push you?
Right.
Like, because I'm not a screaming coach. Like, that's just not my personality. I'm not the like drill sergeant. That's just not how I motivate. So like, when you say you need someone to push you, like, what are you really like? Do you like the accountability of like, you're supposed to be there at 3:30 and you're like, well, I'm not gonna go unless they're there. So like, what are you really telling yourself when you say like, oh, I don't want to do this program, I don't want to do that program? Like, and by all means, I think everybody has a preference. I want to be clear with that. But when you tell yourself that something is not going to work, you're sabotaging yourself.
You're setting yourself up for failure, to be honest. And honestly, it's kind of embarrassing as an adult to not be able to show up to things on time. Okay, maybe you got kids, life happens, but you are late way too often for you to say, oh, well, you're always making excuses for yourself. Honestly, it's embarrassing. Yeah. You're an adult. Yeah. Like, it's the same thing as people be like, oh, I'm overweight because I can't stop eating. Like a baby.
It's crazy.
Bro, like, just show up on time. Wake up earlier. Make better adjustments. 1, 2, 3 times, understandable. But if you recognize in your life that you're consistently late or consistently not showing up, that's your fault.
For sure.
Right? Like, and as an adult, you're fully cognitive about your situations. You should be able to, at this time, let's say you're 18 even, you've had at least 13 years of cognitiveness to be like, oh, I understand clocks and I can show up on time if I just do this little thing.
For sure.
It's like people who are always 5 minutes late for work.
For sure.
Wake up 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
Leave 5 minutes earlier.
What about traffic?
Yeah, that's literally it's you.
Yeah.
And I used to be that person. I'll go back. I used to be that person.
Don't
job,
believe you.
bro. Before
Don't
the
believe
military.
you.
Before the military.
Okay.
And I was still a very hard worker, but it's like my job was 1 block away. I started work at 7 a.m. I was a mechanic. I started work at 7 a.m. I would wake up at 6:50, wash my face, get dressed, wash my face, brush my teeth, head out, and I would get to work at 7:05.
That's crazy.
Why the fuck couldn't I just wake up at 6:45 instead,
Yeah.
and then I would get to work at 7?
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Embarrassing.
I do have to say one other thing that helped draw my memory up. I am a huge proponent working with clients that are honest.
Please.
I am so through with I have no idea how come the scale's going up. Like I don't know how you feel about different stuff, but I am so I'm not okay with it, but I feel so much better when someone's like, yo, I went ham this weekend. My lady came to town. We grabbed some drinks. We did this, we did that. I had a really good time this weekend. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got to get back on it this week. I handle that so much better now than when someone's looking me in the eyes and like, I followed the plan. I ate everything you told me to eat. And I don't know, I gained 3 pounds.
Happened?
And it's this isn't calculator that I created or Darian created for that matter. This is facts.
This is a rule of thermodynamics.
This is it's the lie you tell yourself in reality. If you follow a plan to a T, there's no way you won't. So it's when you look someone in the eye, you're like, I don't know how this isn't working. You're lying. And I think you can get so much further in life. I've had countless times with you, even with the business, where you're like, hey man, have you done this? And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I have not. Because there comes a point where if someone's trying to help you with your business or someone trying to help you out with your fitness,
Yeah.
it does you no benefit to lie about the situation because they're trying to help you. So if I'm literally working with a client and I'm trying to actually get down to the bottom line of okay, why is this not working? Okay, maybe I'm not giving them enough strength and conditioning, activities. Maybe we need to focus more on cardio because, we're not getting enough cardio in. If you're lying to me, I'm spinning wheels in my head that don't need to be spinning. So same thing goes, if you have a business coach where it's you're acting like you have all these things together, and if you don't have them together, they have other stuff they got to do, so they're going to assume, okay, you got it together, good. But ultimately, you're the person that takes, you're the person that loses when you're not honest, because then it's well, you said that you got the food. I don't need to look up any other things for you because you have the food taken care of. But if you're honest, you're look, that food plan that you had me on is very difficult to stick to. My taste buds need X, Y, and Z. Is there any other substitution that you can provide to me? That's when you're going to get the most out of anything. Anything. Even talking to you about videos. How do you do videos? You're bro, just get up there and start talking. And I think that's the cool thing about it. You have, Hermoji always says this, you can talk about doing something for 10 hours, but you'll learn more by just doing it for an hour.
100%.
Like, you'll just learn more because you realize that, like, you're overthinking it, or you're not, like, just doing it. I don't know, just getting out there and doing it. Like, even this, I would love to go back, watch this, and then watch the first one. Because I remember the first one, I was like, where should I have my head? Should I be facing this way? Should I be facing that? I was like, we're just talking. Like, this is just a conversation that we're having. We're having, like, an honest conversation, so we don't have to, like, there's no need to bullshit. Like, we're having an honest conversation, so it's like it comes out how it will come out. And ultimately, the person that's listening, the person that's saying, like, they'll know the truth that's being conveyed. Like, there's no script.
100%.
There's no script behind here. There's no, like, little thing that we're trying to put together. It's, like, legitimately a real conversation about the growth of a business.
Yeah.
To
roll back real quick on people being honest with themselves, it goes back to metrics, right? So there's metrics for a bunch of different things, metrics for your body, metrics for business. So for me, for business aspects, if I'm talking to somebody and they're like, I did what you said, I messaged 100 people a day and no one responded, or I got 2 responses. I'm like, cool, show me your metrics. Show me, like, you know, that you spent each day messaging 100 people and you actually counted. Cool, I messaged 100 people each day. And then you go inside and you look and it's like they messaged 42 people and 3 responded. And they were like, that's it. I couldn't figure it out. And then you come back to me and you're like, yeah, man, I tried to do that. Like, no, you fucking didn't.
That's true.
You know what I mean? We have access to the internet, and people, like, call it spam to, like, message people and be like, hey, you know, I notice you're a fat fuck, like, you're trying to lose weight, and I wouldn't do it that way exactly, but that's what it is at the end of the day. If I'm doing cold DMs, I'm like, hey, like, what's up? Like, how are you? You know, like, I'm like, I messaged you because you look fat. You don't look pleasing to my eyes. I'm a dickhead. AJ's a nice guy. That's why he's the coach. But it's like, it goes down to metrics, and it's like, so even the people are in their business, like, your weight is like a metric. You're like, how many calories did I eat? How much food did I eat, right? How much did I work out that day? And how many calories did I burn? How many steps did I take? And it's like, if I tell you, okay, take 10K steps, work out for 30 minutes, and do 15 minutes of higher elevated cardio, and you're like, yeah, I did that. But then I check your fitness watch and it says you took 3K steps and you didn't work out that day. It's like, who the fuck are you lying to?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
no, that is one thing that, like, I've definitely taken into account, and, like, this is something that I do everywhere now. Where if someone, like, is explaining something to me, and they're like, boom, 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 and they're like, makes sense, and it makes no sense to me, and I just kind of need them to go back through and, like, explain, I will say, like, no, it doesn't. I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's like, it's beneficial to both sides, because if, let's say you're explaining something to me and I truly don't understand it, it does no benefit to him to be like, I understand it, because he just talked for no reason. No one wants to feel like they're talking for no reason. So, like, him walking me back through it, 1, I actually get the information, but 2, like, he's not talking in vain. So, yeah, there's no reason. Like, I feel like we set ourselves up in America, because I feel like they're honest in different countries based upon some things that I've seen. They're a little bit more rude, but I feel like in America we have, like, it's a weird, like, it's like keyboard gangsta, but, like, very much scary individual to come out and say it. And I feel like that happens a lot with, like, the calls. Like, people feel so much more comfortable formulating a sentence to send and be like, I get what you mean now when you're like, well, you have them on the phone, like, we're just going to sit until you tell me no. Because it's so much easier to send someone a message and say, hey, you know, I really need to, you know, da-da-da. And they get to, think about it. If someone sends you a message, you have as much time as you want to respond. You could take an hour.
Talking to a client today.
You could wait for 3 hours. But when you're doing this, I don't get to, like, I got to give you a response.
Yeah. I mean, that's why when people do door-to-door sales, it's like they knock on 100 doors because they're like, if I can just talk to an actual human, and that human will continue to talk with me until literally they're like, can you fucking leave? If I can get in front of a human, whether it's on the phone or face to face, and as long as they stay on the phone with me and we keep going back through the objection process until you just hang up, or you're like, until you hang up,
Yeah.
the conversation's gonna keep going until you either you buy or you die. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's the reality. Like unless, like for me, honestly, because I've been on the phone with people that I don't want to buy what they're selling, and I can be nice sometimes. Like I will eventually just hang up because I'm like, this guy's not gonna let me off the phone.
Andy.
I'll be like, hey man, I'm gonna hang up now.
Yeah.
Like, you have 10 seconds. Like I'm gonna hang up in 10 seconds. I'm just letting you know.
Something about you said about price, it hit me. I like to use, like, I think people love to talk about somebody else. Like, oh, this person. I've loved to like internalize things on how they have worked in my life. So I went to this what do you call it? Timeshare.
Oh yeah.
And I literally got 8 sales pitches. But I had walked in, I said I was gonna say no. Like I wanted to go there. I wanted the cheap stay. Yeah. And I was just wanted to walk out. And I will never forget this. Like, so obviously we had the first salesperson that walked us through the property, and then we had their manager that came out, and then we had the top dog that's never in that happened to be there that day.
Right.
Got it.
Sure.
But the best one, right, was that towards the end. They were like, could you provide us this information in the survey as to, you know, why, what could we have done differently, blah, 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 is it the price, is it this? And ultimately, they ended up going down to like, it was a ridiculously low monthly amount. And I actually had to pause for a second because I was like, I came in here to say no, but now it's so cheap, like, now I want to do it, right? And ultimately, I still said no. But the person that was like checking me out doing the survey information, she was the actual last sale. She was like, what if I could, you know, make sure, you know, we take care of this, don't worry about blah, blah, blah. And I said no.
You said it and I said no.
And I still said no. Because I had that mentality of that I was going in and saying no. But I think what's important, right, is that they forced me to say no.
Yeah.
That's what
100%.
That's what hit me. Because at first I was like, I want to think about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you have to make, like, this deal will not be tomorrow. Like, you have to, da-da-da. And, you know, I was like, you know what, if that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and walk away for now. Like, you know, if y'all have another opportunity, da-da-da-da. But, like, the last lady made me say it. She was like, so you said that, you know, it's a little high for your range, but I'm telling you that I'll knock out 50% off of that right now if you sign. So what is it?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. And then coming out and saying it was like, man,
It like takes a piece of you away.
it does.
Because it, especially, I mean, this is gonna sound, fuck it, you know, it's gonna sound a little sexist, but like with men, you want to stay logical, you know.
For
like,
sure.
If you do some of those things in your sales call with a woman, it might be a little different. You almost want to go slightly more emotional versus like how you feel versus with men it has to be a lot logical. It's like, yo, bro, you literally just said if I can make this price, you would buy today, and now you're saying no. Can you explain that? You know, like let them explain themselves and talk, because when they start to explain, you learn what is the real objection.
Yeah.
Was it actually a price objection?
Yeah.
Did you actually have to talk to your fucking girlfriend, spouse, partner?
Very
Did you actually even want to think about it? Or, you know, do you think I'm a bullshit scam artist, right? Like, or do you just not, and really this is what it is at the end of the day, because if you have the money, this is what it comes down to. You just don't believe in your fucking self.
It's a good point.
Like,
It's a good point.
you don't believe you can do this. Because if someone was like, hey, if you buy this course for $5,000 and you will make $1 million. Like,
done.
And every single person that's ever brought that course 100% has made $1 million. Like everybody would, like,
For
you
sure.
would fucking hope so. Actually, no, not everybody would.
You don't
buy
think so?
it. No, because not everybody is. First of all, not everyone's a system or roadmap person. But also, you buy the course. Let's say you buy it, and then it's like you don't believe in yourself. You see all the work it has done. You know what I mean? Like, whereas me, I'm a big roadmap system person. Like, if someone was like, "Yo, go lick that fucking window 1,000 times, and that'll make you $100,000," guess what I would wake up and do every day?
That's a good point.
I get the licking.
That's a good point.
Hey, yo, pause. No,
That's a good point because, you know, I think there is a point where, you know, even going back to the example I gave you, mm-hmm. I did not believe in that model. I had heard so many things about people getting screwed over with timeshares mm-hmm. that now that I'm listening to you, they could have told me $25 a month, and I would have believed like all the bad shit that I've heard before, which is they can raise the price after a year. They can charge you all these other like hidden fees. So like it didn't matter the number at that point. It was just like the answer is no, and it doesn't matter even what that person was talking about. It was like, no, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. So a lot of the things are in our head because I have talked to other people that have timeshares and they're like, it's great for us. Like the family takes trip and it's amazing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's important too. Like we have this idea that sometimes we automatically go to the negative mm-hmm. and like why this will not work, as opposed to like thinking about it from a very logical standpoint, as you mm-hmm. said. It's like what are all the ways that this definitely will work? Like, you know, this makes a lot of sense to do. Like, mm-hmm. why wouldn't I do it? So
that's what you got to think about, guys. Are you thinking emotionally out of fear? Like, oh, I can't do it? Or are you thinking, or, you know, do you need to switch your thinking to a more logical approach? Like, you can't just, oh, what have I heard? Like, it needs to be logical.
Right.
What is the math? You know, do math is what Goggin used to always say, right?
Yeah.
But
doing the math.
So sick, dude. I feel like some fucking dope value in there.
Man, I always appreciate the conversations.
No, for sure. I hope that you guys got some dope value out of this. Like, that was real raw. There's not going to be any editing unless you see snippets on it. Like, obviously, AJ does not curse as much as I do. It's like a part of my lingo. If you don't like cursing, you probably don't fucking like me, and I'm not going to stop. So, but I appreciate you watching, listening. Sir. This is going up on YouTube, so just subscribe. You don't need to like, comment, any of that bullshit. Just subscribe so you catch the next video. There's going to be way more going up.
Yes, sir.
And the story continues.